Well, hey, Foothill Church, I just want to encourage you today, actually from the book of Job. I just finished reading this book during this time at home with some friends, and I would encourage you to read it. Job is a really amazing story. It's perhaps one of the first books ever written chronologically in the Bible, and what it really does is it tells the story of an upright and righteous man by the name of Job, who was put through quite a bit of tests and trials by God. And so there's a lot for us to gain and learn as he spends most of this book going back and forth between his friends and talking about, what does God have in mind during this time of trial as he experiences loss of life as far as his family goes, riches, cattle, all the things that he once held dear were taken from him. And so I want to read to you from Job chapter 23. And what I love about this section is that we kind of catch Job here at a place where he's starting to kind of go crazy a little bit. He's starting to kind of go a little stir crazy. He's starting to go a little bit, and it's kind of doubting his own thoughts in his head even. And he's kind of going through this moment where he needs clarity. And what he says in Job 23, as he thinks about how God sees him in the times when he's confused about his own life, I find it very encouraging. So Job 23, verse 8, it says, "If I go east, he is not there. If I go west, I cannot perceive him. When he is at work to the north, I cannot see him. When he turns south, I cannot find him." So he's talking about God, and he's talking about Job's ability, his own human ability to be able to understand God's plans and kind of where he's at. And he says this in verse 10, "Yet he knows the way that I have taken. When he has tested me, I will emerge as pure gold. My feet have followed in his tracks. I have kept to his way and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commands from his lips." And one of the things that I love about this passage is there's this kind of little window of Job really going through it. He's going through these trials. He's going through this hardship. And he realizes that even when I look to the north, look to the south, look to the east and west, and I can't really tell what God is up to. I don't know what he's doing. I can't even see him. I don't feel his presence. He's still at work. He's still doing things behind the scenes. And I love what Charles Spurgeon says about this passage. He says, There's nothing about me that God does not perfectly understand. I may be a riddle to myself, but I am no riddle to him." And I think that's probably appropriate for how some of us may be feeling during the season. There have been times where, whether it's just kind of a change in work or a different cadence, being at home with the family and the kids and being on all these Zoom calls, where I start to feel a little bit confused about, like, man, should I be doing this right now? Should I spend my time doing this or doing that? And as Spurgeon puts it, I may be a riddle to myself, but I am no riddle to God. Meaning that God, in his mysterious sovereignty and his great power and wisdom, while he's at work in all these areas of the world and all of time and history at the same time, he's also upholding me and my sanity with his right hand. And I hope that's encouraging to you today, realizing that maybe there's times in this last few months where you've kind of doubted your own sanity or doubted your own ability to think straight. God is still here for us, and he's still somebody who, while things feel muddled to us, things are very clear to him. So I would encourage you to trust in him today, trust in his faithfulness, trust in his wisdom and power and might as we face this time together.